means that he had some status. It's my feeling that the siding of the house, the enclosure of the dog trot into a central hall, the refinements that brought the house into a harmony with the houses of Florissant and other log houses that were eventually sided, happened probably during the early Utz days. This is pure conjecture, but it seems logical. And the weatherboard siding was actually an American idiom more than it was anything that came before it. But at any rate, the Utz family took very good care of the house. Since they were living there, they probably were responsible for building the slave house that once was on the end of at the end of the porch, connected to the fireplace of the chimney of the original pen. The Utzes took very good care of the house and lived there until around 1912. At that point, the holdings had disintegrated to a very small 10 arpent site that belonged to Mary Herzog, who was the widow of Major Utz. And apparently she was the last hanger-on there and had the house in this small lot. And she sold then in 1912 to Gregory Pt2, and that began the last owner's tenure in the house. And up until the time that the house was finally given up by the family, the Tesons, later called Tesons, were the owners. And in 1920, they tore the slave house down, unfortunately without any documentation, because it would be nice to be able to put it back. But during both the Utz and the Teson time, lean-to additions were built onto the backside of the house that had some semblance of utilities, although the old part of the house was never electrified or plumbed. I mean, this is what's so unique about it. It remains pristine. They did plaster the interior eventually. We're not plastering it so that the log work can be seen and understood.
Now, putting your touches, your personal touches, to make this restored back to the way it was.
Well, actually, I first got involved in '93 when the city asked me to look at the house on its original site because it was endangered and a developer was encroaching. I had made a strong recommendation not to move it, but to try to work out some sort of boundaries that allowed a sense of the farm to remain, but gave the house some protection. I heard nothing for a long time and then discovered that the house had been moved because the developer was going to demolish it. And this house was too important to let go that way. So it was now in the park, and it had ground around it. It had breathing room. It was possible to recreate some of these things and give it a sense of context. This is what we hope to do. We will be adding a garden a colonial garden. Certain trees that we know were in the house. There's a lot of oak, there's a lot of hickory, there's cottonwood, pine. We know what's in the house. We want to make it an educational facility that really says something, not just another thing to go look at and say, oh boy, but a house that tells a story, and the story that we want to tell is not only the people who lived there, and their contributions to the community we live in, but also physically how these houses evolved from extremely primitive to quite sophisticated structures. And this house, uniquely, I think, in all the houses of the United States, is capable of telling this story very eloquently without a lot of embellishment. And so this is the aim. And it's, I think, remarkable that a city would undertake a venture like this and back it and put dollars behind it. Because what we've done is Tim Kilby, who has done the log repairs and stuff, is really an expert in this area of work. And so what's been done has been done authentically. I mean, we've hunted the trees, we've chopped them down and dressed them with the hatchet. And I've learned an awful lot in this process, just watching Tim work. And we'll be able to show a lot of things. I mean, you know, even down to chinking, and the fact that we found, you know, 200-year-old corn cobs and other things. And when I was taking the plaster off, a couple of possums in the roof, you know. But really, I think it should be. Our intent was to make it a real addition to the historic houses that are available in the region, and not a duplication. So this is where we're going with it.
Well, Ted, we appreciate your time. A wealth of knowledge here on the show. Hope everybody out there enjoyed the show here tonight. Want to tell you about the open house. It's going to be on November 7th. 2012, as you see on the screen right now, from 12 o'clock to 2 p.m., the Utz-Teson House at 420 Brooks Drive. You can RSVP Tim Davidson at 314-513-5014 or the email that you see on the screen. Also want to tell you about a commemorative brick program that you see also on the screen right now. A couple of different donation levels. You can contact Tim to find out more information about that. Also, but once again, November 17, 2012, 12 to 2 p.m., Utz-Teson House, Brooks Park, 420 Brooks Drive. We'd like to thank you so much for watching the show tonight, both Part 1 and Part 2. A lot of people see these names, Ted, out there on the names of streets. Yes. You see Choteau, Laclede, Teson. You see all these streets. Yeah. And I think even myself, growing up here in St. Louis, living in North County my entire life, I never knew the rich tradition and history of how these names coordinated some of the parks, some of the streets, and even the streets throughout St. Louis. Now we do, thanks to you. We appreciate your wealth of knowledge here on the show. Well, I'm glad to be here, and we are a very large family. Sounds good. Hey, thank you so much once again, Ted Wolford, the restoration architect on the Utz-Teson House in Hazelwood. Once again, we'll put the information on the screen for you right now. November 17th, 2012, 12 to 2 p.m., the Utz-Teson House at 420 Brooks Drive. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope you enjoyed both segments of the show here on the Utz-Teson House. We'll see you tomorrow night right here on News 20 on GTN. Have a great evening.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That moment?
It was a moment that changed my life. I'd been training with my team for months, and now we had been called up for the first time. The real deal. Wildfires were getting dangerously close to homes. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
Be out there. Be out there. Be out there. Be out there.
Time was, kids did what came naturally. Spending free time running barefoot through the grass, wading knee-deep in streams, climbing to the tallest branch. But today, American kids are more likely found texting, watching TV, or gazing at a computer screen. They spend more than 7 hours in front of electronic media. Something essential has been lost: childhood's connection to the natural world. That's why National Wildlife Federation created the Be Out There movement. Kids move indoors causes a host of problems, from obesity to ADHD. But outdoor play can go a long way to improving kids' health, body, mind, and spirit. It helps them stay fit, enhances creativity and attention spans, and could even make them better students. Do your part. Be a part of Be Out There. There's a reason why they call it the great outdoors. Learn more at beoutthere.org.
Be out there!
Our day starts very early. We never know exactly when we'll have a full house, but whatever comes up, travel arrangements, birthdays, homecomings, emails back home, we'll do our very best to see they get what they need. It's the very least we can do, considering what they do for us. If you want to make a difference in the life of someone serving our country, if you really want to make a difference, the USO is how it's done.
Find out more at USO.org. The USO, until everyone comes home.
When Americans volunteer to serve their country promises to take care of them when they come home. For a paralyzed veteran, day-to-day living is a major challenge. Paralyzed Veterans of America works to make sure our veterans get all the benefits they were promised from the country they proudly served. A spinal cord injury is an injury for life.
And at Paralyzed Veterans, we are their partners for life. Thank you for helping us help America's veterans.
Thank you.
Our day starts very early. We never know exactly when we'll have a full house, but whatever comes up, travel arrangements, birthdays, homecomings, emails back home, we'll do our very best to see they get what they need. It's the very least we can do, considering what they do for us. If you want to make a difference in the life of someone serving our country, if you really want to make a difference, the USO is how it's done.
Find out more at USO.org. The USO, until everyone comes home.
Be out there. Be out there. Be out there. Be out there.
Time was, kids did what came naturally. Spending free time running barefoot through the grass, wading knee-deep in streams, climbing to the tallest branch. But today, American kids are more likely found texting, watching TV, or gazing at a computer screen. They spend more than 7 hours in front of electronic media. Something essential has been lost: childhood's connection to the natural world. That's why National Wildlife Federation created the Be Out There movement. Kids move indoors causes a host of problems, from obesity to ADHD. But outdoor play can go a long way to improving kids' health, body, mind, and spirit. It helps them stay fit, enhances creativity and attention spans, and could even make them better students. Do your part. Be a part of Be Out There. There's a reason why they call it the great outdoors. Learn more at beoutthere.org.